Four Nations round-robin play concluding Monday night between the U.S. and Sweden. The Americans striking first just 35 seconds into the tilt, but nothing to show from there. Sweden takes this one 2-1, but to no consequence. The Americans already locked into Thursday's final, where they would go face-to-face with the neighbors to the north. It's Canada and the U.S. of A. for the Four Nations face-off final Thursday night in Boston. CBS Sports hockey analyst Alan May in with his thoughts both here in this final matchup in round robin and moving forward to the final. Alan, down a couple bodies up front with little on the line here. What did you make of the American effort in this one?
Well, I really liked the effort, but I just thought they ran out of gas with the short roster and having Tkachuk go out so early. They were already without Matthew Tkachuk in this game, already without Austin Matthews. And then Vinny Trocheck goes down. So it was a tough night for them overall, but I still like the effort. I thought they got out-goalied tonight, and Samuel Ersson was absolutely phenomenal in this game, and not a lot of people expected him to get a start, and there he was. He looked excellent.
Matthew Tkachuk, you mentioned him there. He was interviewed in the midst of this matchup, Alan, and during that interview, he talked about his impression of just how quickly this group has gelled. I know all high-level players, but you put them on the ice, you can only expect so much. Can you give us a sense of that sort of undertaking in such a short amount of time, how quickly this group has gelled?
I think the biggest thing is when you have so many elite hockey players on every single one of these teams, they're going to buy into everything that's going on. And the U.S. guys all happy to be there, all happy to represent their country and just doing whatever it takes to win. They also understand that this is an audition for the Olympic team. So you're doing everything you can do to fit in. I think it's been incredible to see how all of the teams have sacrificed and done what they can to come together so quick in such a short tournament. No practice time. And really just game after game as they've got going here.
As we said, anytime you put the letters across the chest, whether that be a home country, you just want to represent yourself and represent your country in that way. And now we move forward to this matchup that maybe we saw coming after the first one. It's USA versus Canada Part 2 for the whole darn thing. I know it was high-flying. It was physical. Defensively, the U.S. was so sound in that first matchup. What are you most interested in finding out here on Thursday?
Well, it's going to be how they start the game, each of these teams. I doubt that we're going to see fisticuffs. I think it would be wrong for them. Actually, I love a physical brand of hockey, and I don't mind a fight, and I love hitting. But I think they've got to be very careful to start the next game, and they've got to worry about playing the game on the ice, not what happens after the whistles, and not just dropping the gloves to start it. The key players for Canada, they've got to step up. They've got to rise up. The role players got to make sure they're rolling. And the biggest thing, whoever has the best goaltending and the best defensive performance from their six-man back end is going to be the team that'll win that game.
We know what this means to these guys. Again, it's such a point of national pride, and they're going to be focused on the shifts and the minutia and the things that often lead to a win. But broader, this is the USA versus Canada on ice, and anytime we get to do that, it's something special. What inspires you when you think of these two teams, regardless of the context, going head-to-head?
Well, when I think of the best players in the National Hockey League, they're represented by both of these teams. And just to see these players go out there, and you got Werenski playing defense for USA, you've got Makar. Those are two guys that will probably be the finalists for the Norris Trophy this year. You look at up front, you've got Austin Matthews, if he's able to play, one of the best goal scorers in the history of the National Hockey League, and he may go down as the best American goal scorer when it's all said and done. You've got Connor McDavid, who a lot of people think is the best player in the world and will have a lot of records when he's done. But the biggest thing is just putting all these great players on the line, and they're going out there to represent their countries. They're also going out to represent themselves and to have some bragging rights as to who are the best individual players in the game. But most importantly, no one's going to talk about this tournament in 5 or 6 or 10 years, whatever it is. I'm not sure if we'll ever have this again, just having 4 countries in a midseason tournament. But right now, it's who the top players are in the National Hockey League this season, representing these 4 countries. And for now, it's bragging rights. So the biggest thing, it's kind of like winning the bean pot in hockey. It matters to the teams that are in it. And right now, these guys all are representing their countries to get ready for the Olympics and want to show that they're ready to go next time they put these jerseys on.
Well, it is not lost upon me that I do sit across from the man from Alberta who now makes his home here in the U.S. I know you speak on this sport day in and day out. It pains me to do it, but I do need a pick.
Well, it's still hard for me to go against those Canadian superstars, but right now I think the favor is in Canada. Just going off of that, who's going to be able to dress and who's going to be able to play. The Tkachuk brothers were so instrumental in that win in Montreal the other night, and if they cannot play and if they cannot be their best, that takes a lot of the physical game, a lot of the bite, a lot of the snarl out of the U.S. Canada right now, it looks like everyone's healthy, minus Shea Theodore. But when you put all of these players, the healthier team right now looks to be Canada. They've got some things to prove from that drubbing the other night. And, it was a close score, but I felt like it was a drubbing. They've got to go out there and prove it. And, I am very torn on this. I coach in USA hockey, and I've raised my kids in the States. But right now, I don't think I'm favoring my home country of Canada in saying I think they've got the edge going into this one because so much has been made of this politically. They just want to go out and play hockey for the sake of winning the game, for only that reason, to prove they're the better team on the ice. Nothing to do with nation against nation when it comes to politics.
We can't wait to see this spectacle of sport. Alan May, looking forward to Thursday. Thank you, my friend.
Take care.
All right, here's a look at that head-to-head again, 3-1 in that first meeting back on February 15th. It was 9 seconds in, 3 fights. Alan says cooler heads will prevail with bragging rights and a trophy on the line in the Four Nations Face-Off Final Thursday at TD Garden.